All right, it has been a minute since I've talked about my bikes and getting dirty. Bikes have played a key part in my mental health since my wife passed away 2.5 years ago, and during the 2 years she was on her journey with cancer. They made a tremendous difference in our life, and that she could continue riding bikes because we've ridden bikes for the entire 34 years that we were married. And we switched to recumbent trikes with her cancer diagnosis because we didn't want her to also have an issue of falling off a two-wheel bike, breaking something, and then also having uh, terminal cancer. So that was enough of a battle for her. Fortunately, with the daily pill that she opted for, that her doctor suggested, versus radiation um, or chemo treatment, she could live a pretty normal life for about 20 months. Didn't lose any hair. She wanted to continue working in our clients' gardens, although only a couple days a week. And she could go out and ride 20, 30 miles on a recumbent trike without an issue, even though she had stage 4 terminal cancer. So we opted to buy these. Let me turn my camera around here. So I bought a Catrike 559, which is right here. We decided, after doing a lot of research, we decided to go with Catrike because it's made in the USA. And you can get, this is an e-assist, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can get a recumbent trike without e-assist. A good entry-level one is around $1,800, and then up. And with e-assist right now adds about $3,000 of the cost of any recumbent trike that you want to add it to, because I can take this motor off and put the original boom back on there and convert it back to a regular recumbent trike with non-e-assist. So a Catrike like this right now with e-assist, I believe this is $7,000, I think, something like that. But you can get recumbent trikes up to about 22 grand with all kinds of stuff, and I don't know if there's that big a difference. I've test driven a couple of them. I love my Catrike. So let's get started with this. This has, on this particular model, it is mounted here. You can get it mounted a lot of different places, but this is the battery. I have two batteries because I don't want battery anxiety when I'm out riding. So on my rack that I have in back here, I have a bag from Arkell, great Canadian company, that mounts on here. I got two different sizes of Arkell bags. So I carry my battery, which is 6 pounds. I carry it on the opposite side just to kind of balance the bike out. And then on this side, in this bag, I'll carry my repair kit, which is right here. It's got all my stuff that I need should I blow out a tube. Knock on wood, I never have had that issue because I check my air pressure every single time before I go out. I've got my my bike pump right here, and I check air pressure every time I go out, and I'm careful when I'm riding on a trail. So that's the battery. Like I said, this is a Catrike 559. The only thing that I've ever really had to adjust on this is a 4.5-year-old trike, is just the derailleur to make sure I can cover all the gears that I want to cover in here. Like I said, this is an aftermarket rack that's an add-on. The fenders are optional on a Catrike. I had fenders on all 3 tires. I took them off the front. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I put big apples on this for a much, much better ride than the stock little skinny tires that come on the Catrike. I don't like the stigma of flags and all this stuff that people put on the recumbent trikes. I only ride on bike trails. And on the few bike trails that I ride on, if I am on a road, it's never more than a block or two, and it's usually a very, very quiet road. I just don't like the look, and I'm trying to get rid of the stigma that recumbent trikes are only for old people. So I switched to lights, and I didn't know that Olight, the great flashlight manufacturer, also made bike lights. So I've got, I just mounted this is not stock with Catrike. This is a carbon fiber bar that I took off one of my kayaks. I had mounted on one of my kayaks that I just sold, so I took this off. Carbon fiber bar up here, and I use it to mount my Olights. And with these, the great thing about these is just a long press, and whatever display you had it on before, that's what it automatically goes to. When you go to turn it off, you just hold it and it will turn off. They have a very, very long life cycle per charge. Per charge when you charge these and you just have them on the blinking aspect versus full on time. I've got a camera mount. You can put a bag on top of here. This is made, it's got a track system, so you can put a bag on here. I just don't really put a bag here because my Arkel bags carry so much. I do more camera work, so I actually have this camera mount on here, and I can take this off. I can still put a bag up here, not in the track, but I have another older Arkel bag that'll go on here with straps. Also got another Olight on the side. These are great side lights. You can see them from a distance. I'll probably do another video to show you how you can see them, but they are Olights. They are bright. Same thing, long press goes off. Highly recommend a neck rest. This is not a headrest. Most people mistake this as a headrest, but your helmet, your bike helmet, should be above this, and especially since they're resurfacing like 20 miles of my local bike trail, I just literally put my neck on here and I'm very comfortable riding like that. If I see bumps coming up, sometimes I'll lift my head up, but that's usually not an issue. So they've got two different densities of foam you can get for this. This is also aftermarket. Like anything, there's a lot of stuff you can add after the fact. Another accessory are wrist pads right here, and you can tilt them, you can adjust them. I love them. It's truly like being in a recliner when you're on any recumbent trike. This is a very comfortable seat. This is just a stock seat from Catrike. Very comfortable for me. Gear shifting is right here. Hand brakes, it's got disc brakes. Never had any problem with the disc brakes, ever. Ever. And on the front, like I said, I used to have fenders on here, but I took them off because these Big Apples, if you ride them at the lower pressure that you're allowed to ride them at, you're fine. But your rolling resistance gets much tougher. So if I go to the higher end of the inflation value on these, they just barely touched the fenders. So I took the fenders off. And that's fine. I'm not worried about sticking my fingers in there or anything. Let's talk about what I've got all on this contraption here. I see a little rear view mirror right here. I got tired of all the crazy adapters for holding phones on things, so I finally went to Quad Lock. Your phone will never, ever fall off this. Now you've got to use a Quad Lock case on your phone, but it will never fall off of this. What's nice on this one, you build these holders for whatever you want. You can actually put, it's got the fingers on here, so you can put an action camera here if you want, on the back of the Quad Lock. I've got these lights in front, so people can see me coming on the bike trail. Got one on each side, inexpensive on Amazon. I've got this adapter here, so I can just take an Olight flashlight and put it on here. Instead of having a dedicated bike light, I can use an Olight flashlight if I want, and then I can use it in other settings other than just a bike light. Here's a mount for my Insta360 camera. I do a lot on TikTok and shorts on YouTube. So I just put a 360 Insta360 camera on here, about a foot or two, and it gives me great photos going on there. All right, let's talk about water. Water everywhere. Now, I don't use this water here because on short rides, I normally ride, I have a 10 to 15 mile loop. I'm well hydrated when I go into the ride. I go to the end of my driveway, do a 10 to 15 mile loop. I'm usually good with a bottle of water that I've got in here. I use a Yeti cooler because I hate the taste of plastic. So I've got a Yeti bottle that goes in here. And then I carry an extra bottle in my bag, so I usually don't have to worry. I don't have to carry two bottles here. So I took this water bottle, put foam in the center of it, and I just carry pepper spray with me for that dog that just thinks you look so tasty. Never had to use it, but it's there. When I ride up north, I carry bear spray with me. I've seen bears, never been an issue, but I carry bear spray with me. Out here in front, I put my DJI Action 4 camera out here to capture content. It's great, perfectly smooth. I get tired of seeing videos of people riding trikes and all you see is knees, ankles, and feet. So when I put my camera out here, you don't see any of that. It's just the road. I use Crank Brothers egg beaters for my pedals. You've got to have some way to restrain your feet on here. If you don't restrain your feet, they have what's called leg suck. You hit a bump, your foot falls off, it gets sucked underneath your seat, and you can say goodbye to any normal hip, knee, or ankle movement after that fact. So you've got to be clipped in. And it's not the same. I've always rode clipped in when I had my road bikes, and it's not if you're going to fall over, or it's not if you're going to fall over, it's when you're going to fall over. I've fallen over once or twice because you weren't at quite the angle to unclip when you pull up to a stop sign. You don't have to worry about that when you come. You just come to a stop. And like I said, you always have a great seat with you wherever you go. Pull into a concert, midweek concert, you got your chair right with you. So, Crank Brothers. I also have spacers in here. Go down here. These are 1-inch spacers. I'm 6'4". My leg stance is much wider than someone that's 5'1". And so some people develop leg pain. Check with your orthopedic surgeon. I'm not the expert, but I was a ski school director, certified ski instructor, and I knew that my stance had to be wider, so I put these spacers on my bike. I have them on all my bikes, two-wheel or recumbent. It just makes it more comfortable for my hips. All right, let's go over to this side. Like I said, I've got an alarm right here. It works like with a little thing that looks like a remote for your garage. I turn it on, and usually my bike, I don't leave it out of my sight. The couple of restaurants that I stop at, I usually can see my bike the whole time I'm ordering. But if I can't, I will set the alarm. And if somebody bumps the bike, it does a little beep. If somebody moves it more, a little bit more. If they try to move it, it has this ear-piercing sound that goes off. And if I am, like I said, I just don't do it, but if I were, I carry a steel bar chain lock that goes through my back tires, so they're not going to get this bike very far. Like I said, I do a lot of live on TikTok where I'm out for an hour or two. So I've got a mount here on a swivel, nothing plastic on here, it's all aluminum, so that I can put my phone in here and I can go live for an hour or two while I'm out riding my bike. The controls on here are pretty simple. Let's see if I can get this in the lighting that's here today. So you can see I'm about a half charge on this battery right now. If I change it from Eco, which right now I can do 31 miles. If you go to Tour, it'll say I can currently go 17. Sport, I can go 13. And if I just want turbo help, it gives me 11. Right? So depends on how much assist you're going. Like I said, I carry 2 batteries. They're only 6 pounds, and I just carry it in my Arkell bag. One of the bags that I use mostly is this Ortlieb side bag. It mounts to the chassis. You'll see it over here. It's got this bar here, and you'll find when you go to buy these accessory bars, they cost as much as a weekend away. I think this might be $100 and some for this accessory bar. And any of these accessory bars that I have on here, all these are aftermarket. All these are aftermarket accessory bars that I've added to here. They are not inexpensive, but well worth the investment. So with this Ortlieb bag, it opens from the rider side, and you can access stuff that you need to in there, whether it's cash or I carry business cards with me. Great Ortlieb weatherproof bag. You can put a map or whatever you might need in here. That's pretty old school. Everybody obviously uses GPS. I think that's a quick overview of this. Like I said, I'm riding Big Apples. It's a very, very comfortable bike. I want to get rid of the stigma of this being an old person's sport or an old person's bike. I can go out there and ride for 2 or 3 hours, and my average heart rate will be definitely in zone 2, sometimes in zone 3 for the entire 2 or 3 hour ride. So you do get the same cardio. Are you getting the same core workout? Probably not, but you're getting a lower core workout because this is like doing leg presses for 2 hours at the gym. And we know what that feels like when you go to the gym for 2 hours and do a few leg presses. And you're not going to have sore wrists. You're not going to have a sore rear end. You're not going to have a sore neck. You'll see stuff. I've ridden this bike trail where I live for 18 years. And since I bought this bike 4 years ago when Cheryl got sick, I've seen stuff that I had never seen in the first 15 years of riding the bike trail. Because you don't have to worry so much about balance. You can take the time to truly enjoy the ride. If you have any other suggestions, what your favorite things are about recumbent trikes, be sure to leave it in the comments. I'll be posting some more of these. I'll be posting some more videos. Or join me on TikTok and see what I'm doing on TikTok or gettingdirtywithglenn.com, where we talk about biking, kayaking, hiking, photography. I'm a landscape architect, so I'm always working in clients' gardens. I'm sharing gardening, so it's about getting dirty, getting outside, and moving. Get off the couch, get outside. I can run circles around my 50-year-old friends because they're in cubicles all day and not moving at all. So that's it. I wanted to give you this update. I'll see you out on the bike trails. Remember to lead with love and kindness, and that motion is lotion for your body and soul.